Chris, we're going to get into the serious stuff. I mean, you're essentially walking away from a career, a storied and celebrated career of 18 years, almost 20 years, for some pretty significant reasons. But why don't we first get to know you a little bit? What drew you to meteorology? What drew you into broadcasting? Did you always dream of doing this?
I did since second grade. Hurricane Bob back in 1991. I was in second grade, going into the second grade, and I was fascinated by the wind, the water, and then after the storm, all the sailboats that had washed up on our main street and the beaches surrounding our downtown. I was fascinated that Mother Nature could pack such a punch, and it was after that I continued that dream, that passion through elementary school, through high school, and made my way through college, got my undergraduate degree in meteorology, and started in broadcast shortly thereafter, going all over the United States, from upstate New York to Boston to the Great Lakes, now here in Des Moines as chief meteorologist for another day and a half.
Yeah, for another day and a half. I mean, you wrap it up this week, and let's get to the tweet. This is the one that caught our attention. I'm grateful you responded to my inquiry, by the way. You told your followers, you told your fans, 18 years, 7 stations, 5 states. I'm bidding farewell to TV to embark on a new journey dedicated to helping solve the climate crisis. And Chris, we'll obviously get to that. You say, after a death threat stemming from my climate coverage last year and resulting PTSD, I've decided to begin this journey now. Can you talk to us about this?
Yeah, it was a year into my tenure into Des Moines, and the station hired me because of my climate work that I did in Boston. I think you mentioned I started the country's first weekly series on climate change in the United States, and it was something that I quickly became passionate about. I was covering some of these major storms for NBC, and for the network. I was on the ground for many of the big storms between 2016, 2017, 2018. I was there covering Hurricane Harvey and Irma. And then I came back saying we need to do more. And that's how the coverage started. But I came to Iowa to talk about climate change in a part of the country that it really wasn't being talked about. It was being left out of the conversation. So I got some pushback, but it hit a peak when I received that death threat. And it was more than just I'll kill you. It was a drawn out kind of threatening email with how the person would carry it out. I was home at the time. My wife was out running errands. I made sure that she was okay. I called her, got her home. While I was paralyzed, I couldn't really walk or move. My mind was racing about all these possibilities. And it just launched what was a pretty stressful year. I had been a firefighter in college. I've been through some stressful times during that as well. But this was an element or a level of anxiety that I had never experienced before.
These voices have become louder and louder. You got an email June 21st, summer equinox, isn't that, I think? Summer solstice of last year. Getting sick and tired of your liberal conspiracy theory on the weather. Climate changes every day, always has, always will. You're pushing nothing but a Biden. By the way, why can these people never get the correct spelling of your? There's your and your. Anyway, I digress. You're pushing nothing but a Biden hoax. Go back to where you came from. That's like about the gentlest, most tepid, shallow end of the pool type one that we're going to read here. But you faced a barrage of these, and then, like you said, a detailed death threat. Folks that, I don't know, worry about the future of planet Earth, that worry about their grandkids might go, no, Gloninger's one of the good guys. We need voices like Chris Gloninger doing weekly series and features on the impact of climate change. We need these voices. So let's talk about what you're doing next.
I'm excited about it. And I don't want people to think that I'm giving up. And I don't want my colleagues who are doing this important work to stop connecting the dots. And I never intended this to be, hey, this is what you could get if you talk about it. No, I want people to be stronger, bigger, and better than that. But I felt like after all of this, I needed to step back after 20 years. I needed to focus on my family, my life. My parents are in good health. Same with my in-laws. I wanted to focus on my wife and our relationship. And I also wanted to have a hands-on role and do climate 24 hours a day as my main job. And I'm able to do that now going forward. I'll be starting at the Woods Hole Group, and it kind of branched off in the 1980s from the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute. And a group of oceanographers, coastal engineers thought that we could work with communities and build resilience. And that has kind of developed into working with towns, municipalities on preparing for climate change, building resilience, finding ways to mitigate and adapt to climate change. Everyone's going to want to live next to the water, or whether that be an inland lake, a river, or the ocean. Oceans are rising, rivers are prone to more flooding, but how do we coexist naturally with water? Those are some of the questions I'll be working on, putting my science hat on, looking at data, doing data analysis, but also communicating. Spending 18 years as a scientist that communicates is a skill set that is going to be transferable and will work in a, I think, a pretty prominent role in helping communities understand their challenges and needs, and work with the other engineers to kind of develop those plans to help protect them and make sure that they're around in 2050, 2070, 2100, all these big benchmarks.
Well, and can we also point out that, much like the law of gravity, whether or not you believe it, it's relevant. Like the floods are going to continue. The fires are going to continue. The polar ice caps are going to continue to recede. We will continue to see the impact of climate change. I speak like this. I spell it out like this because I believe that at some point my 7-year-old son and my 1-year-old son are going to maybe watch some of the shows that their dad did back in the day. Wyatt and Noah, I'm sorry about all the F-bombs. But other than that, I want them to see that their dad was on the record believing the science, And so I don't care if somebody believes the science or not. That doesn't make the science any less relevant.
Absolutely. The CNN, which is one of our national channels here, which I know that they have a global presence, did this advertising campaign back in that 2016, 2020 era. And it was a simple ad, and it was great, and it sums up your argument quite well. It's a picture of an apple, and it said, "This is an apple. If you call it an orange and keep calling it an orange, at the end of the day, it's still an apple. It's not going to become an orange. You can call it whatever you want, but at the end of the day, it's still climate change, and it's not going to go away, and it's not happening because you don't want to think or believe that it's not happening. Just people need to grow up. People need to have a spine and get uncomfortable about the conversation and talk about climate change and not be scared that, I can't, I don't have the means to or the mental means to think about it, because it's here. We're already seeing it."